All right, let's get right into it. In today's video, we're discussing a topic of growing importance in our modern society, and that is the decline of birth rates in Western nations. Now, to tackle such a broad issue requires looking at the problem from multiple angles and through multiple disciplines to figure out just what is going on and what we might do to correct course. The decline in birth rates is deeply concerning for many reasons. When older generations begin to outnumber younger ones, society faces an inverted pyramid. It's a problem that creates both economic and social strain. With too few working age individuals to support the needs of a growing elderly population, the burden of taxes, pensions, and the healthcare system becomes overwhelming. Economically, this trend can lead to stagnation. Labor shortages in key industries such as technology, manufacturing, and services may slow growth, stifle innovation, and reduce productivity. Without sufficient numbers of younger people to fill the gaps, some regions could experience depopulation, leading to school closures, shrinking communities, and collapsing real estate markets. Socially, the consequences are just as serious. Declining birth rates can intensify isolation and mental health struggles, while smaller family sizes means fewer siblings and relatives to support natural family networks. Over time, this erosion of community and family structure threatens the very stability of society. So, that being said, let's take a logical approach and use reason to better understand this issue. At its core, the birth rate depends on men and women coming together to form families and raise multiple children. Research consistently shows that the nuclear family is the most stable foundation for achieving this naturally. And anything, whether it's societal, psychological, or biological, that disrupts this process will have the net effect of lowering birth rates. That being said, we can use research as well as theorize and speculate as to the cause and solution for this issue. So, with that in mind, let's explore some of the key factors contributing to declining birth rates in Western countries. First and foremost, we've seen a decline in religion, particularly Christianity, accompanied by the rise of secular values to replace it. Religion has traditionally emphasized the sanctity of marriage and the union of two people as one family serving God the Creator. As part of that calling, faith often includes the directive to procreate, as we see in Genesis where it says, "Be fruitful and multiply." It is therefore no surprise that societies with strong religious foundations tend to have higher birth rates than more secular ones. By contrast, when secular materialism replaces religion, priorities shift toward different values. Careers, personal freedom, and self gratification often takes precedence. These are pursuits that are sometimes viewed as being hindered when you're raising kids. This shift leads to delays in family formations, and in some cases, the absence of family formation altogether. The longer people wait, the few children they are likely to have, as biological limitations inevitably come into play. Moreover, delaying marriage and child rearing weakens the family support systems. When children are born later in life, grandparents may be too old to play an active role, or in some cases, they may pass away before their grandchildren are even born. This not only reduces intergenerational support, but also further erodes the stability of family life. Added to this is the issue of rising divorce rates. With religion in our modern age playing a smaller role in people's lives, and marriage no longer viewed as a sacred union and lifelong commitment, priorities have shifted toward a secular trend, which has contributed to the breakdown of the nuclear family. Today, divorce rates in many Western countries hover around 50%, which is a stark reflection of this trend. The dissolution of families has direct consequences for birth rates. It means fewer children are being raised within stable households, and many grow up without the consistent presence of a strong father figure. Research shows that fathers play a vital role in a child's mental and emotional development, and their absence can lead to lasting negative effects. As rates of divorce rise, so too do mental health struggles in children, which in turn places further strain on relationships. This creates a negative feedback loop. Strained relationships lead to more divorces, more broken families, and ultimately fewer children being raised in stable nuclear households, causing mental health issues that further strain relationships, and around this process repeats. Another major factor in modern society is the increased access to both abortion and birth control across Western countries. Naturally, the termination of pregnancies or the prevention of conception altogether results in fewer children being born on a large scale. Beyond this, however, there are deeper biological implications to consider and speculate on, particularly with the use of hormonal birth control. The pill disrupts women's natural hormonal cycles, and research suggests it can influence mate selection. Normally, during fertile phases, women tend to prefer men with high masculine traits. Things like strong jaws, deeper voices, dominant features, they all signal genetic fitness and attractiveness. The pill, however, can shift preferences toward less masculine and more nurturing men. This shift in mate choice may have long-term consequences. Women on the pill may select men they find less sexually attractive overall, leading to lower satisfaction and diminished arousal, especially once they discontinue the pill in order to conceive. These dynamics can lower the frequency of sexual activity, delay family formation, and in turn contribute to declining birth rates. Across generations, the effects could compound. If pill-influenced mate selection consistently favors traits associated with lower masculinity, future offspring may inherit less conventionally attractive features, which could hinder their own mating success and reproductive outcomes. In evolutionary terms, widespread use of hormonal birth control may gradually erode population-level signals of genetic fitness, leading to fewer relationships, reduced fertility, and ongoing decline in birth rates as these selection pressures echo throughout generations. Now, another growing concern is the rise in infertility in both men and women. Modern lifestyles, while offering many comforts, have also contributed to increased rates of obesity and lower physical fitness. This overall decline in health has direct impact on reproductive health as well, making it more difficult for many couples to conceive. In men, one of the most alarming trends is the significant decline in testosterone levels observed over recent decades. Lower testosterone not only affects fertility, but also influences overall vitality and well-being. Compounding this problem are environmental exposures to certain chemicals and endocrine disruptors, which can interfere with fertility and alter sex hormones in both men and women. Together, these factors are creating a landscape where conceiving and maintaining healthy pregnancies is becoming more challenging, further contributing to falling birth rates. We also cannot overlook the economic and labor factors at play. In Western societies, women have been encouraged to enter the workforce, but the opportunity cost here often comes in the form of delaying or foregoing family life. With society encouraging many women to prioritize careers, it naturally pushes back the age at which women begin having children. This reduces the total number of children they can have over the course of their life. In addition, greater financial independence among women could shift dynamics in sexual selection. With higher standards for choosing a spouse, the pool of men deemed suitable for long-term family life has narrowed. As a result, many women may find themselves competing for a relatively small fraction of men who meet those standards. This imbalance may contribute to declining birth rates. It's just a mathematical problem. Economic pressures further compound this issue. Currency debasement with subsequent inflation has skyrocketed housing costs, leading much of the younger generation to be renters rather than homeowners. Home ownership often provides a sense of permanence and stability that supports raising multiple children, whereas renting can feel temporary and uncertain. Without the security of owning property, many young adults may delay or avoid settling down to start families. Some argue that the solution lies in providing more financial support for families, such as expanded paid maternity leave and other incentives. They highlight that certain countries which provide a high level of economic support for childcare have a slightly higher birth rate compared to other Western nations. While these policies may offer some relief, history shows they are not the root of the issue, and even in countries that have these supportive policies, the birth rate still remains relatively low. Whereas societies in the past, societies that were far poorer and with fewer resources, and without these safety nets, they still maintain much higher birth rates than we have today. What we are experiencing instead may be a modern version of mouse utopia. This is an idea or phenomena which has been elaborated by Rudyard Lynch of What If Alt Hist. In these experiments, mice placed in an overabundant, stress-free environment experienced social collapse. Aggression increased, mating rituals broke down, and reproduction eventually halted, leading to extinction despite plenty of resources. The parallels to affluent human societies are striking here. Isolation, hyperindividualism, and the breakdown of the traditional social roles mirror what the researchers of this experience described as a behavioral sink. In modern cities, abundance is accompanied by alienation. Surrounded by resources but cut off from meaningful community, birth rates plummet as many people withdraw into lifestyles resembling the experiment's beautiful ones. And in this case, it was individuals who avoid family life and instead focus on personal comfort, such as grooming or self-preservation. Today, we see this pattern manifest in the form of decadence, where excess leads to purposelessness. Young people in Western societies face record low fertility rates while grappling with social withdrawal phenomena. Comfort without challenge appears to erode the drive for family formation. Tied to this is consumerism, where material pursuits and digital distractions increasingly replace the bonds of family life, deepening isolation and accelerating demographic collapse. Speaking of which, when it comes to digital distractions, we cannot overlook the impact of social media, online dating, and pornography on declining birth rates. All of these have reshaped behaviors, perceptions, and relationship dynamics, potentially in ways that delay or even deter family formation. Social media reduces the desire for children by constantly exposing users to content that highlights the financial and lifestyle burdens of raising kids. At the same time, it fosters anxiety, depression, and unhealthy social comparisons that elevate personal freedom and individual pursuits over parenthood. These platforms also displace time once spent in face-to-face interactions, reducing opportunities for meaningful relationships and intimacy. By reinforcing independence and self-prioritization, they raise the opportunity costs of childbearing, especially for women. We also can't overlook the impact of pornography, as it leads to false expectations and less real-world interactions. Online dating apps further compound this issue. The paradox of choice, created by seemingly endless options, often results in prolonged singlehood, delayed commitments, and a greater focus on casual encounters rather than long-term relationships. Unrealistic standards, dating fatigue, and algorithm-driven mismatches increase the likelihood of unstable relationships and higher breakup rates, weakening the foundations needed for family life. While digital platforms have enabled some couples to meet, their overall effect in the West seems to have been to prolong the path to parenthood. In doing so, they contribute to suppressed birth rates and intensify broader demographic challenges, such as aging populations and shrinking communities. Another factor contributing to declining birth rates is the rise of relationships outside the traditional monogamous nuclear family structure. This includes a potential societal increase in non-heterosexual relationships, which naturally do not result in biological reproduction. Even within heterosexual relationships, sex in our modern society is increasingly viewed as primarily a source of personal satisfaction rather than as a function of reproduction and family formation. Additionally, societal shifts challenging conventional understandings of gender identity may also contribute to lower birth rates, as these changes may influence relationship formation and reproductive behaviors. Combined, these cultural trends reduce the likelihood of forming traditional family units and consequently further contribute to declining birth rates. Now, one common argument downplaying the significance of declining birth rates is that modern societies have seen dramatic reductions in infant and child mortality. In the past, large families were necessary to ensure that some children survived into adulthood because so many died. But today, with fewer children dying young, the need for many offspring appears to be less urgent. While this observation is valid, it overlooks the broader demographic trend. Many societies are now below replacement level fertility. Once the society falls below replacement, the overall population will decline regardless of improvements in child survival. Even if infant and child mortality were reduced to zero, a population with birth rates below replacement will shrink over time. Now, transitioning to solutions. While the challenges we've outlined may seem daunting, they are not insurmountable. History shows that societies have reversed demographic declines through deliberate cultural, policy, and personal shifts. The key is addressing the root cause head on rather than relying solely on superficial initiatives. When we tackle the deeper issues like values, health, and community, we offer a more holistic approach. So let's explore practical, multifaceted strategies to rebuild a culture of family formation and boost birth rates, starting with revitalizing the foundational elements that once supported high birth rates. First, to counter the decline in religion and the rise in secular materialism, we must foster a cultural renaissance that reemphasizes purpose beyond individualism. It promotes religious values, particularly those from Christianity, which celebrate marriage and procreation. It could be encouraged through community programs, education, and media that highlight fulfillment found in family life over fleeting pursuits like careerism and travel. For instance, churches and faith-based organizations could expand outreach to young adults, offering marriage preparation courses that stress lifelong commitment and the joy of parenthood. Even for secular individuals, we could promote alternative philosophies that prioritize legacy building through children, reminding people that true freedom includes the freedom to create and nurture the next generation. By shifting societal narratives away from consumerism and toward intergenerational responsibility, we can reduce delays in family formation and encourage earlier marriages, ensuring stronger support networks from grandparents and extended family. Building on this, tackling rising divorce rates requires reinforcing the nuclear family as a sacred, stable unit. Governments and communities could invest in premarital counseling mandates, drawing on successful models where couples learn conflict resolution and shared values before getting married. Culturally, we need to destigmatize seeking help for marriages in crisis, perhaps through therapy programs focused on father involvement, given the research on the importance for child development. Media campaigns could celebrate enduring marriages, countering the glorification of independence post-divorce. By viewing marriage not as a disposable contract, but as a cornerstone of society, we can break the negative feedback loop of broken homes, mental health struggles, and fewer children raised in stable environments. Regarding abortion and birth control, solutions lie in education and knowledge about alternatives. Raising awareness about long-term effects of hormonal birth control might be of importance, and it could encourage women to explore non-hormonal options. Public health initiatives should promote comprehensive sex education that ties reproduction to its natural purpose, while providing support and community resources rather than defaulting to termination. Biologically, this approach preserves natural hormonal cycles and mate preferences, potentially leading to more satisfying relationships and higher birth rates over time. Infertility issues demand a proactive focus on health and environment. To combat obesity, declining testosterone, and chemical exposures, national campaigns could promote physical fitness through incentives. Schools and workplaces should integrate nutritional education and outdoor activities to build healthy habits. On the environmental front, stricter regulations on endocrine disrupting chemicals found in plastics, pesticides, and personal care products could reduce fertility harming exposures. For men, specifically, routine testosterone screenings and lifestyle interventions could reverse declines. Couples facing conception challenges should have easier access to fertility treatments, but the emphasis must be on prevention. A healthier population naturally conceives more readily, breaking the cycle of reproductive struggles. Economically, while financial incentives alone aren't sufficient, targeted policies can alleviate pressures without ignoring deeper causes. Mate selection dynamics could improve by fostering social environments where men and women meet organically, such as in the community through events or mentorship programs that build skill and confidence in both men and women. On housing, combating inflation through sound monetary policies and increasing affordable home construction would restore stability for young families. Renters could be encouraged to home ownership through loans that prioritize first-time home owners. Remember, past societies had high birth rates despite poverty. Today's solution should pair economic relief with cultural encouragement to view children as investments in the future, not costs. The mouse utopia parallel suggests we combat abundance-induced decadence by reintroducing purpose and community. Programs combating hyper-individualism might include national service initiatives where young people contribute to a society, fostering a sense of duty and connection. To counter purposelessness, education systems could incorporate life skills curricula on family roles, resilience, and long-term planning, drawing from historical examples of thriving communities. By challenging comfort with meaningful engagement, such as volunteering or craftsmanship, we can avoid the behavioral sink and reignite the drive for reproduction. Digital distractions like social media and online dating require boundaries to restore real-world bonds. Parents and schools could teach digital literacy that limits screen time, promoting apps with family mode features that encourage offline interactions. And for dating, shifting toward in-person matchmaking events or community-based apps that prioritize compatibility over endless swiping could reduce the paradox of choice and fatigue. Regulations might curb algorithms that amplify anxiety or unrealistic standards, while campaigns highlight the pitfalls of virtual life, such as displaced intimacy, and celebrate analog pursuits like hobbies or group activities. By reclaiming time for face-to-face relationships, we lower the opportunity cost of parenthood and build stronger foundations for families. To address non-traditional relationships, it doesn't need to be overcomplicated. We could just focus on solutions that promote the nuclear family without using coercion. And it just requires education and media emphasis. So, all that being said, what do you think? How do you think we could help mitigate this problem of population decline? Do you have any other ideas that you think might be useful? Do you think it's not an issue, that we don't need to be worried about it at all? Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let me know what you think below, and thank you for watching.